So anyway, today we'll be doing paper 3 is energy value. Is it energy value? I don't know lah. But since you guys mentioned that you all see bread, roll the bread into pieces, put it into oven and dry it, and then of course, is there anything else you can do? Of course, you burn the bread lor. If you see peanut butter, then maybe it's peanut butter on the bread. Then you can burn as well. So I will teach you the answering technique. So even if really touch wood okay, touch wood. I touch the wood. If really energy value is not coming out, I teach you the answering technique. You can apply the answering technique to all of the question. Okay. I actually posted a video in my YouTube. I don't know if you guys watch, but if you guys never watch, it's okay. It's okay, guys. I will teach you one by one. Now, if the question asks about, because the question can be any other question, right? It can be any question that they ask in exam. So first, maybe they ask about observation. How do we write observation? If you need to write two observation, we have to choose the highest and lowest, okay? The highest and the lowest. For example, let's say you have three variables. Okay, you have three manipulated variables, or maybe four, you can burn depending on how many they give it to you. Maybe they give you a cashew nut, a groundnut, or peanut, or maybe they give you bread. So you have to burn it, and then you find the highest and lowest value if you need to write two observations. When you write highest and lowest value, how do we explain the answer? We have to write which MB, let's say groundnut, has the value of the energy value of what? You have to write the number. The value here referring to the number, okay? MV value, RV value. Okay, right now, because our MV has no value, so we cannot write MV value, RV value. So how do we explain when your MV manipulated has no value? Because some of the manipulated has a value, right? Right now, our manipulated is type of food. How do we explain this answer? We have another way of answering it. When your MV has no value, the way to answer is which MV, maybe groundnut, and then has the energy value of what number? The value here is the number. Maybe it's 200, or the value is the temperature, increase in temperature, right? Maybe the temperature is 35 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Celsius. Groundnut has increase in temperature of 35 degrees Celsius. So you have to write the value of your RV. Okay, I will tell you what is the difference between RV and ORV later. So this is the observation. When your MV has no value, you have to choose which MV and with the RV and the value itself. Next, how do we write inference? If the question asks you to state inference about the experiment, inference, we have to say which MV has the highest or lowest ORV. What is ORV? What is RV? The difference between ORV is operational responding variable. Operational responding variables are what we learn in the textbook. In the textbook, we learn energy value. In your responding variable is increase in temperature. That is responding variable. Responding variable is what we do during experiment. It's called responding variable. Operational responding variable is energy value. It's what we learn in textbook. We learn the energy value come from a formula, right? That is energy value. So again, right now, because our MV has no value, how do we explain our inference? We have to say, we have to say which MV, the ORV is the highest or lowest energy. For example, let's say groundnut. Groundnut has the highest or the lowest energy value. Why? Your reason is because that they absorb more or lesser heat. This is how we explain our inference. Your reason needs to base on your theory part. That is the reason. So even in exam, if you cannot remember anything, most of the answer that we explain, when we have to explain about your MV and RV. So the first main thing that we have to get it correctly is your manipulated variable and your responding variable. If your MV and RV are most likely correct, your answer will be correct lah. So your MV and RV is the most important thing. Okay, next we have control variables. I know that you know how to write manipulated, responding, and control variable. Sometimes they ask you method to handle. The other day, there's a student who showed me method to handle. If the question asks you to write method to handle, there are few keywords that you have to take notes. If you want to write manipulated, what is the method to handle? We have to say use different. The keyword here is use different. Your method to handle needs to involve of use different manipulated or type of food, which are groundnut, peanut, bread, dry bread. You have to use the word use different. Use different type of food, such as peanut, groundnut, and whatever bread lah. So you have to write use different. If you want to write responding variable, let's say increase in temperature, You have to say measure and record. Okay, because this one you can measure, or you can say observe and record, measure and record your responding variable by using what apparatus? This is by using maybe thermometer or whatever, because it's increase in temperature, right? Measure and record the increase in temperature by using thermometer. So you have apparatus to measure it. Unless you have eye, but right now we have no eye, we have to use thermometer, right? So by using what apparatus? If you want to write operational responding variable, let's say you want to write energy value. Energy value is what we learned in the textbook. So if you want to write responding variable, let's say energy value, you have to calculate your energy value by what using formula. What is the formula? You have to write MC theta over mass of flow times 1000. You have to use the formula. You have to use calculate. Of course, what I'm telling you right now is for bio answering technique. Chemistry and physics, I personally don't know because I don't teach physics and chemistry. I only teach biology, guys. So I can only tell you this is only for biology lah. So if you say calculate, so we both also correct, guys. If you want to say increase in temperature, or if you want to write energy value, both answer for variable, responding variable are correct. Okay, next we have control variable. If you want to write method to handle for control variable, we have to use the word fix. Let's say fix distill water at 20 ml by using measuring cylinder. You have to fix your constant variable at which value. What is the value that you want to fix? 20 ml or 10 ml or 30 ml. You have to write the value by using what apparatus? Measuring cylinder. As long as you can measure, can already learn. Depending on what apparatus they give it to you. So this is how we control variables by using method to handle. Sometimes they ask you to write method to handle. Of course, they don't give you a box. They give you maybe write the method to handle for variables. Then you're going to write use different, measure and record, fix constant variable. Okay, so now this is your control variables. Next, hypothesis. Hypothesis is what you learn in primary school. No, the higher the MV, the lower or the higher the RV. But right now, since the example, the question is type of food. Your type of food has the higher the type of food. Doesn't make sense, right? If your MV has no value, then we choose which MV has the highest energy value. Maybe you take groundnut or peanut. Peanut has the highest energy value compared to dry bread, compared to groundnut. So you have to write compared to who. You want to write increase in the highest temperature, or you can say energy value. Both are correct. So remember, when your MV has no value, you cannot write the higher the MV, the higher the RV. It doesn't make sense. Choose the highest or the lowest also can. Both also correct. They won't ask for ORV or RV, right? No, they don't ask ORV and RV. You can choose whichever to write. It's your choice to write. Doesn't matter one. Okay, next, construct a table. They ask you to draw a table. Your table needs to involve title. Okay, what increase in temperature, initial temperature, your type of food, and then unit, data, and calculation. So it means usually we will write the answer. We don't write the step out. We just write the answer out. So everything you have to correct. Unit, it means that the ml, the temperature, every unit you have to write. Later we also construct a table, yeah. And then because this is a type of food, so we have no graph. We only have bar chart. If you draw a bar chart, remember your x-axis and your y-axis, you need to write. Okay, what do you have to write on side? It means you have to write. You have to write energy value. You have to write type of food. So it's always a bar chart if you are talking about energy value. Since we have no graph, okay, if you need to draw a graph, maybe touch wood lah, if it's not energy value. If you draw a graph, you join the point from the first point to the last point. In biology, we join the first to the last. Most of the time, we join first to the last. So if you draw. But this is a bar chart. We have to draw a bar chart. Drawing a bar chart is very easy, guys. Calculate how many decimal points. Okay, later we do a calculation question. I will tell you how do we have the decimal point. Yeah. Next, explain relationship. If they ask you, what is the relationship between the type of food and the energy value? How do we explain the relationship? We have to say which MV has the highest energy value or has the lowest energy value, and explain with your biology knowledge. They absorb more heat from the water. So this is the biology knowledge. In this case, because we don't have the higher the MV, we have to choose which MV has the highest RV, or ORV also can. Then you have to explain your answer with biology knowledge. This is something that we have to know. If you have no value for MV, type of food got no value, yeah. Operational definition. This is the most common asked question. How to write operational definition? Operational definition, it involves a theory for energy value. So you have to like completely burn 1 gram of food, right? Okay, the theory. And then if you don't remember the theory, at least you have to write which is determined by RV affected by MV, which is increase in temperature affected by type of food, or energy value affected by type of food. So when your operational definition usually requires 3 things: theory, RV, affected by MV. These are the 3 things that we have to write for operational definition. Okay, now then we have prediction. Usually for prediction, we will write more than or less than the number. We have a calculation value, right? So let's say your energy value right now is 1,000. So you have to say more than 1,000 or less than 1,000. More than 1,000 or less than 1,000. Or maybe more than 57 degrees Celsius or less than 57 degrees Celsius. Example lah. So you have to write more than or less than. I will not suggest you to write +1 or -1, because the +1 and -1 is only some teacher, and this is the old syllabus teacher, they want them to +1, -1, because it's a prediction. We don't write +1 or -1. We write more than or less than the value given in the table. We don't write value because we don't have a specific value. Your value is based on the previous food. Let's say you burn groundnut. Your answer is 500 or 50,000, for example, 50,000 joule. How do you know it's 47,000? Or how do you know it's 3,000? Or how do you know it's 1,000? So we don't really know the exact value. So we have to say less than the value given, because they ask you to compare with the food. Whichever food that you did just now in the experiment lah. So we just compare the previous food lah, okay? Okay, next. So you write more than or less than. Don't write +1 or -1 lah. So you just write more than or less than. It's from the table that you count. I'll post, of course, I will post the answer, guys. Of course, no answer, you all won't do the question also. Okay, next, classification. Classifying are usually referring to, they give you a choice. They give you a choice. Maybe they give you apparatus and material. They ask you to identify which is apparatus, which is material, something like that lah. So this classification lah. So they ask you to classify which one is protein, which one is carbohydrate, which one is lipid. So they ask you to classify. So it means they give you a choice. Like some of you did in this experiment, you have Selangor set 1, right? You have the categorize of reducing and non-reducing sugar, right? It's the same classification. They ask you to put it into different things. That is called classifying. And then procedure. If biology is unguided, how do you want to write the procedure? Procedure involve these few steps. Okay, just follow these few steps. Definitely you have no problem. But since we know it's energy value, for example, let's say energy value is coming out. My suggestion lah, just memorize the procedure, guys. My suggestion is only one. Okay, just only one. But if you don't know, if you don't want to memorize, it's okay. What you have to write over here first, you have to prepare the material and apparatus. Means you have to prepare 20 ml of distilled water have to be measured, and then you put it into a boiling chip. Okay, then you do the preparation. You have to write the constant variable, 20 ml of distilled water. You can put it together. You have to record the initial value. You have to write precaution. I will tell you what is the precaution in energy value experiment later. And you have to measure and record your responding variable. And then you have to repeat by using different manipulated variable with the same constant variable. It means that with the same 20 ml of distilled water or 10 ml of distilled water, you repeat experiment to get average reading. For energy value, I don't think you have time to do that. I mean, of course, you have time, you can do that. But if it's no time, you can just don't have to repeat. Then you can record in table, and then you have to show a table out. So this is how we write a procedure. Everything involving of your MV, RV, and CV with method to handle, and the method to handle of MV, RV, CV, and also the precaution. You either have to follow these to get your procedure correctly. So before your exam, which is on Thursday, on Wednesday, please try to write a procedure by yourself. I don't know if you hope that biology is guided or unguided lah, but if it's unguided, it's very easy. If it's guided, also very easy. The hard one usually, most likely it will not be biology lah, because biology experiment is a bit fixed. We don't have a lot of variation around it. You can only change on the manipulated variables. Unguided, please. Okay, don't please me. You please the God later. Okay, cannot please me. Okay, so this is the thing that we have to know how to answer it. So no matter whether which experiment in biology, you use the same answering technique, okay? No matter what experiment that you will see in your exam on Thursday, we use the same answering technique. Okay, anybody has question on the answering technique, guys? Anybody has question on answering technique? ORV is what we learn in the textbook. For example, we learn energy value, right? Energy value is operational responding variable. Okay, let's say if it's DCPIP, that is called percentage of vitamin C or concentration of vitamin C. But in responding variable for vitamin C is the amount of fruit juice needed to decolorize 1 ml of DCPIP solution. So operational responding variable is what we learn in textbook. The formula, energy value, vitamin C concentration, vitamin C percentage, those are known as operational responding variable, what we learn in book. Responding variable is what we do it in experiment. It's called responding variable. Okay? Not in-depth thing. It's textbook and experimenting. It's theory and experimenting. So the concept is the same because in the end of the day, let's say you are doing this energy value, right? Increase in temperature is what we do in experiment, right? But energy value is what we calculate in number. That's called energy value. That's called operational responding variable. Okay, let's try a few questions today. Hopefully, we can do 2 to 3 questions today lah. Okay, I will skip the easy question. I will do the slightly harder question with you, means more interesting question. We will look at question 4, guys. Question 4. We're going to start from question 4 first. Okay, question 4. First, we have problem statement. Okay, I didn't mention how to write a problem statement. Problem statement, usually we have to write, does MB affects RV? But it's when MB has value. Right now, when MB has no value, we don't write does MB affects RV. We have to say which food, which type of food has the highest or lowest energy value. Okay, because the apparatus and material they give it to you, they only have 2 nuts. They have a cashew nut and ground nuts. So if you don't know how to write your problem statement, because problem statement, you can write does cashew nut has the highest energy value, or you can write does ground nut has the highest energy value. Because problem statement is where you don't know ma. If you don't know, you don't write the correct one, it's also correct. Means if you don't know the answer, does cashew nut has the highest energy value, question mark, or does ground nut has the energy value, both answer also correct because it's a problem statement. Whether you don't know this before experiment, but my suggestion is to write a correct problem statement. Means if you don't know which one is higher, you do the experiment first. Then you get your answer to write your problem statement. So in this experiment, you can also write, does cashew nut has the same energy value with ground nut? Can also lah. So if you don't know what to write, I would suggest you to write this most general answer. You can say, which food sample has higher energy value? This is the most general answer because with or without doing this, you are asking which type of food has the highest energy value. When you have a problem statement, the main thing here is the question mark, guys. You don't end with a full stop, you end with a question mark. No question mark is no mark, you know. So it be sad lah. So no question mark is no mark. So you have to write question mark if they ask problem statement, okay? It's not English moment lah, okay? Next, we have hypothesis. Now, hypothesis, you can say, no need to write specific, no need, okay? No need to write highest or lowest because we have a hypothesis. Then hypothesis, we can say, ground nut has the highest energy value or cashew nut has the highest energy value. So actually for hypothesis, higher energy value because the formula is energy value. So for hypothesis, you can choose cashew nut or ground nut. So there's a very shallow region that there's a very gray region, because some people say that hypothesis, can I write a wrong hypothesis? Because it's a hypothesis ma. I don't know ma. Can I write a wrong hypothesis? Again, my suggestion is don't write a wrong hypothesis. Write the correct hypothesis. So you have to say, ground nut or cashew nut has the highest energy value as to compare to another food. Sorry, it's me who don't write the energy value. Okay, now that I notice you guys, why you guys ask me the same ask me the question, energy value. Okay, last time you did the experiment, the nut couldn't catch on fire, just turn out black, so the water temperature did not increase, must causes no flame. Oh, in that case, maybe you can try with another nut lah. If it cannot turn up, it cannot be on flame, so you can use another nut to try it. So you can say ground nut has higher energy value than cashew nut. Got so many nut meh? Maybe they give you one or two lah. Because the size of the nut doesn't matter one, guys. The size of the nut doesn't matter. Okay, variables. We have manipulated, responding, and fixed variable. But if you cannot be on fire, guys, really cannot be on fire, you ask the teacher again. You tell the teacher it cannot be on fire. How do we know? How do we know the energy value, right? No need to mention about dry bake because there's no dry bake in this experiment. Dry bake is another experiment. Later we don't do dry bake, yeah? Right now we do two nut first. Because they say it's bread and groundnut, is it? Bread and groundnut. Of course, you cannot ask the teacher to ask you to open the Bunsen burner. If you don't know how to open the Bunsen burner, later, please YouTube how to on a Bunsen burner. Okay, I teach you all. Okay, now manipulated variables. What is a manipulated variables? What is a manipulated variable? Since this is a type of food sample. Very good. Okay, this is type of food sample. Type of food sample. Very good. Type of food sample is the better answer. It's not type of nut because sometimes they didn't give you nut only. They give you other food sample, right? Type of food sample. Next, we have responding variable. Responding variable, we can write two answers. We can write operational responding variable. We can write responding variable. If you want to be easy, of course, you can write energy value of food. That is the easiest answer. Energy value of food. Energy value of food sample. Energy value of food sample. Okay, for fixed variable, how do we write fixed variable? May I know which has the highest energy value, wheat crackers or groundnut? Groundnut has the highest energy value because groundnut has more lipid. Volume of water used, correct? You can say initial temperature of the distilled water, also correct. Volume of distilled water or initial temperature, both also correct, yeah? So you can say volume of distilled water. Or you can say mass of distilled water. When we write fixed variable, there is no answer. There's no value. We don't write 20 ml of distilled water. Your constant variable, we cannot write with number. So you cannot write 20 ml of distilled water. We can only write mass of distilled water or volume of distilled water. Can we write increase in temperature when the food is completely oxidized for? You can write that. That is the responding variables. Yeah, because most of the time your initial temperature is different I want to say. So volume of distilled water is the best answer because it's always 20 ml or always 10 ml. So just write volume of distilled water, it will be better. So don't write number, yeah? Okay, so right now they give you material and they give you apparatus. So how do we set up? Drawing is not necessary in bio exam. They don't ask you to draw the experiment up, but maybe they ask you to explain the experiment. So first, you have to weight your initial weight, okay? Every nuts have different weight. So the size and weight doesn't matter. So you weight it with the weighing scale and record the original mass. And then you measure 20 ml, this is 20 ml by the way, 20 ml of distilled water using measuring cylinder and pour it into boiling tube. Okay, you pour it into boiling tube and then you clamp the boiling tube with the retort stand. So you put the thermometer, right? So when you put the thermometer, you have to stuff in with cotton wool because the cotton wool is to fit with the thermometer. So fit with the thermometer and then you record the initial temperature. Later, I will teach you how to look at, you have to be in eye level when you look at the thermometer, it has to be eye level. Okay, and then you put a plasticine, your needle, you have to poke with your nuts. Okay, you poke with your nuts, with your plasticine, and you have to be upright. Cannot be standing, you have to be upright. Upright, you have to be upright. Then you put a barrier around the apparatus. You light up the nut by using a Bunsen burner. So when you light up the nut, you leave your plasticine, you put it to your Bunsen burner and put it back to the original place. You don't put your Bunsen burner near to your food because it will increase in temperature of the water. So you don't take the Bunsen burner, go near to your boiling tube. You take the food, go near to the Bunsen burner, return the food back to the upright position. When you place the nut, you have to place as close as to the boiling tube. As close as to the boiling tube. Only you will have lesser heat loss, your temperature increase is more obvious lah. So after you completely burn, Then you look at the temperature, right? Before you look at the temperature, you stir on the boiling tube first because you have to be the evenly distributed heat. So you have to stir it. Then you find the highest, look at the temperature. Now, what is the precaution in this question? First, you place it as near as to the boiling tube. Your food has to be near as to the boiling tube. You have to be on flame, correct? You have to be on fire. Your nut has to be on fire. So you go to the Bunsen burner, you have to be on fire, you put it back to your boiling tube, underneath the boiling tube. The second precaution that we have to know, the nut has to be completely burned. Means it has to be completely black color. When the fire is off, that will be your highest temperature. We use blue or orange, doesn't matter. Just be on fire. That's the thing. It has to be on fire. As long as they are on fire, then you have a completely burn. It doesn't matter one, okay? Has to be on fire, okay? Next. And then you replace, okay, if you have to change another MV, you have to replace the water in the boiling tube. And then you put it again. You repeat the experiment, step 1 to step 9, and then we have energy value with the formula. Do they give you the formula in exam? If it's unguided, you have to memorize the formula. Memorize formula means what? With the unit, everything you have to know. If it's unguided. If it's guided, most of the time they will give you the formula. If it's unguided and they don't give you formula, how do we want to remember the formula? It's very easy. Remember, MC theta over mass of food times 1,000. Okay, MC theta. Because usually if it's unguided, you don't need to write a formula out. Okay, so, but you can remember MC theta over mass of food times 1,000. What is M? M here referring to your mass of water. C referring to specific heat capacity. Theta referring to changes in your temperature, increase in water temperature, changes in temperature. Food sample times 1,000. Doesn't matter if you use joule or kilojoule. If it's joule, we don't have to times 1,000. If it's kilojoule, you have to times 1,000. Does it matter? It doesn't matter because both are also energy value formula. If the value is too small, we use joule per gram. If it's the number is a bit big, if you have to draw a graph, then you can use kilojoule per gram. So it doesn't matter if you use joule or kilojoule. If you times 1,000 means kilojoule per gram. Don't have to times 1,000 means this is joule per gram, yeah? Okay, now we have to do some easy calculation over here. So first, we're going to find increase of temperature. We have the casual nut. So we have to use your final minus your initial. What is your answer, guys? What is your answer over here? 72 minus 27. If it's unguided, formula need to put in procedure. Yes, you have to put the formula in the procedure. 45, very good. Okay, next, 69 minus 23. What is your answer? Is 42. So we do the energy value. Don't have to draw the question. If it's unguided, don't have to draw one, guys. If it's guided, they give you a table. Don't have to draw one, okay? You have to do the calculation. Remember, MC theta over mass of food times 1,000. Usually, we don't have to show the step. Just have to write the answer. So what is your answer for the first food? Your first food is what? MC theta, M mass of water is 20 times 4.2 times 45 divided by mass of food. Mass of food is 2 times 1,000. What is your first answer? 1.89, right? How do we get the water mass? The volume of water equals to mass of water. 20 ml equals to 20 gram. 20 ml equals 20 gram. Okay, next, groundnut. Same thing, mass of water 20 times 4.2 times 42 divided by 15. Not 15, guys. It is 1.5. 15. Your answer is, what kind of answer is that? It's 1.5. 1.5 times 1,000. What is your answer? 2.35. 2.352, right? 2.35. Now, if you want to draw a graph, 2 decimal place is the best way to draw the graph because 1.89 and 2.35 is 2 decimal place. If you want to put it into 3 decimal place, for example, let's say your answer is 2.352. Okay, let's say this is 2.352. If your answer here, I don't know what is the answer just now, is 1.89, is it? Only 1.89, is it? You have to add a 0 over here. your decimal has to be the same. You cannot be 2.352. The other one is 1.89. Your decimal has to be the same decimal. So when you draw a graph, I will suggest you to draw 2 decimal. Unless your volume is a bit small, like 0.0 something, right? Then you do kilojoule per gram. You do joule per gram, but this is kilojoule per gram. We have to follow back. Thermal temperature, no need to put 1 decimal place. Thermal, you mean this one? If it's a fixed one, if it's 72, 69, then no need to put. But if this is 70, if because it's given to you lah. If it's given to you, then it's 72.5. Then this one you have to 0.0. If you need to write, I will also suggest you to write 0.0. What is the M? M is mass of water. Mass of water is 20. Just okay, how do we get 20? 20 is here, 20 ml. 20 ml equals to 20 gram. Okay, so it's 20. The volume of water. Okay, this is M, yeah? Okay, next, state the inference, which is called response to the observation on the experiment result. Just now you learned, right? How do we want to write inference? Your inference needs to include MV, RV, reason, right? MV, RV, reason. So right now we can choose the highest or the lowest one to write. You can write cashew nut, you can write groundnut. So we choose the highest energy value, like easier to explain. So groundnut has the highest energy value. Why do you think groundnut has the highest energy value? Because more heat is released, or more heat is being released when groundnut is completely burnt. More lipid, correct? But this one you can say the water contains higher amount of lipid, also correct, because they have more lipid, also correct. So how do we explain this? We can say groundnut contains, or has also can, more energy value compared to the cashew nut because more heat is released when groundnut is completely burned. So we have our MV, RV compared to which MV, and then this is the reason. We just find the smallest scale to know the decimal place, right? Correct. So you use the smallest scale to know your decimal. If it's 0.1, then you have to add 1 decimal place. If it's 0.01, you add 2 more decimal place. So we have MV, RV, and reason for all of the inference. Next, state 3 precaution needed when carrying out this experiment. Just now, we highlighted a few precautions, right? Can you tell me what is the precaution again? I heard that bread and nuts. So how do we hold and burn the bread not too big? The size of the bread doesn't matter. They will cut a small piece for you. So you don't burn the entire bread. You burn a small piece of bread only. The food has to be burned completely, correct? Thermometer cannot touch the boiling chip, also correct? Distance between sample and boiling chip reduces. Okay, you have to go near to the boiling chip. Next, okay, if you have three food, you just compare to cashew nut and dry bread. Just write 2 more MV over here, the comparison. Compare to who and who. According to textbook, groundnut has higher energy value, but sometimes I get cashew nut is higher energy value. So groundnut mostly has the highest energy value lah. Do they give you a white towel instead of barrier? Maybe, could be. They will give you as long as you can block the wind, it can be anything. Not necessarily has to be a cardboard. Not necessarily have to be a barrier. It can be anything that you block the wind. Your school got metal barrier. And got metal barrier? I believe every school is the same lah. Because it's they provide the same thing. So first, whatever you say just now is correct, guys. Again, now we're going to put it into a sentence, yeah? You have to say, make sure food sample are completely burned before reading final temperature. Next, you can say, make sure that food sample are put as close as possible to bottom of boiling tube. Next, you can say, make sure that water in boiling tube is stirred before reading final temperature. So remember, completely burn. Close to the bottom of boiling tube. Stir the water in boiling tube. Can we say parallax error for thermometer reading? Cannot. That is not the precaution for this particular experiment. You have to write this particular experiment. It's the final temperature. Because we have to use final minus initial, not the highest minus lowest. Of course, when you stir, you don't stir like how you stir your Milo powder lah, guys. You stir gently, okay? You don't stir like how you stir your Milo powder, please. Ensure that apparatus are surrounded by the heat can. You can also do that. You can also do that. You can also write that. Food has to be burned completely. This means that we have to wait until the flame disappears during the experiment. Yes, correct. Use a windshield to prevent the heat loss to the surrounding. Also correct. We have many precautions for this experiment. Actually, we have two more. Okay, maybe I should write the other one also. Maybe I should write another two. Let me write at the bottom. So you can say combustion of food must carry out in closed environment so that there is minimal heat loss. This is still the continuous answer, guys. Heat loss to surrounding. Okay, next, you can write supply if there is no oxygen. So you're going to write supply. Oxygen must be sufficient for complete combustion of food. Yeah, the flame will eventually go off by themselves. If the question asks precautionary step, no matter question asked or not, need to write explanation. So you have to write your explanation lah. Okay, so this is 5 of the precaution method. Next, does the mass of the food sample affects the energy value? Explain your answer. Do you think the size of food affects the energy value? No, why no? Because we are calculating per gram, not per food size. Not per food, is per gram. So to explain your answer, we have to write, let me write over here the C answer, yeah? So the answer is no energy value is amount of energy produced. Release also can, produce also can. When 1 gram of food is completely burned. So the size doesn't really matter. This is C answer. Okay, done with this, page 14, guys. heat energy or just energy? Heat energy also can, energy also can. If you want to write heat energy also correct, yeah? Okay, now next, based on the result of the experiment, state the operational definition for energy values. Now we have mentioned, right? How do we write operational definition? We have to include the what? We have to include the theory. But if the food sample mass is in the equation, why does it not affect the energy value? Because we have to divide the food mass is MC theta, divide by food mass. So food mass, whether it's 2 or 3, we divide back. The answer is based on 1 gram also. Because the unit is kilojoule per gram. You cancel off the gram is your calories already. Okay. Now, back to this again. How do we write operational definition? How do you want to write operational definition? You have to start from theory, then which is determined by RV affected by MV. Very good. So we have to say the theory. What is the theory? We have to start with energy value is the heat release when 1 gram of food sample is completely burned. Then you can say it is determined by increase in temperature of water in boiling tube, which affected by type of food sample. So this is your theory. This is your RV. So this is RV, not ORV. ORV is energy value, right? Your RV is increase in temperature. Okay, and then affected by type of food. This is MV. So when RV is affected by MV, of course, I will send the answer, guys. I will send the answer again. No answer, you're not going to do the question, okay? I will send the answer. So RV can, yes, because RV is based on this experiment. Energy value is ORV. Your variables, responding variable is energy value. Your responding variable is increase in temperature of water. Both are correct. One is RV, one is ORV. Operational responding variables is energy value. Based on your textbook is energy value. Increase in temperature is based on this experiment. You get your RV. Okay, so when you write operational definition, it's your RV, not your OR, not your energy value, because you explain what is energy value already, right? So you have to write RV. Okay, next, based on your experiment, compare the energy value between dry fish and groundnut. Explain your answer. Now, do you think that groundnut or dry fish has a higher energy value? Of course, nut. Why nut has a higher energy value? Because your energy value is not just about heat release, right? It's about what content? The lipid content. Very good. The higher lipid content. When you have a higher lipid content, means that you have more heat release. So when you want to write your answer, you have to say groundnut has higher energy value than dry fish. This is because burning of groundnut result. Fish has 14, correct? Fish has 14 only, correct? Okay. Now, burning of groundnut has higher increase in temperature due to higher lipid content compared to dry fish. it produces bigger flame when burned. Has higher increase in temperature of water in boiling tube. Yes. There's a higher increase in temperature in the boiling tube. It has a higher lipid content compared to dry fish, correct? What is the conclusion for this experiment? The conclusion is groundnut has the higher energy value. So your hypothesis is accepted. If your hypothesis, you write groundnut has a higher energy value, is hypothesis is accepted. So if just now, if you write cashew nut has a higher energy value, means that hypothesis is not accepted. So that's why I say when you write hypothesis, choose to write the correct hypothesis. Don't write the wrong hypothesis. Okay, so you have to say groundnut has higher energy value compared to cashew nut. The hypothesis is accepted. Can we write the same answer but change the dry fish with dry bread? Of course you can, it's the same answer. Most of the answer in energy value is the same. Just change your MV. Dry kernel should have a higher energy value because it's oil inside. Can we write hypothesis is accepted first? Of course you can. Okay, done with this. We're going to do one more question, even though the time is up, but it's okay. We're going to do another question, guys. Just that dry bread is carbohydrate. Correct, dry bread is a carbohydrate. That's why they have there's a lesser energy value. Fruits you cannot burn. You have to be dry fruit. Because fruit has water, so you cannot burn the fruits. Like you cannot really burn apple. You have to be dry apple, you can burn lah. Unless you have lesser water content, then you can burn. Okay, Ken? Okay, now done. Everybody has question in this question? Anybody has anything to ask? If not, I'm going to try another question. Okay, can I? Okay, let's look at another question. Let's look at question 6, page 19. Okay, actually question 6 and question 7, these two questions are from the old syllabus. Means before you do experiment like the KSS, and this is the old syllabus. So you can try to do the old syllabus one because they have all of the questions that you need to know, like operation definition, inference, observation, prediction, drawing a graph, is in question 6 and question 7. So you can try question 6 and question 7 later. We will do 6 first. I will teach you how to do 6. An experiment was carried out to determine the energy value in peanut, cashew nut, and dry bread. Diagram 1 shows the setup of apparatus used in this experiment, so it will be the same. I don't read the same procedure again. It's the same thing. Right now, the question asks you to read the temperature. So how do you want to read the temperature? So first, if you look at peanuts, what is the temperature? 40, correct. 40 degrees Celsius, 40.0, because later we have decimal place. Do we have to write decimal place over here? If the table is given to you, you don't need to write your decimal place. This is per temperature. So you don't have to write the decimal place. But if the question did not give you decimal, I will suggest you to write all decimal, okay? All unit. Decimal with unit. Just write decimal with unit. Just write. Okay, write like that in exam. Please, if you don't remember, just write everything with unit. Next, we have next foot. What is the foot over here? If you look at this, right, it's in between the line. Can you see it's in between the line? So what is the answer over here? It's in between 36 to 37. So this is 36.5 degrees Celsius. Of course, in the exam, you're not going to see this question, guys. You have to read it by yourself by using the thermometer. Please read by yourself because it's old syllabus. Old syllabus, they give you everything already. Dry bread, again, they are in between over here, right? What is the answer over here? This is 34.5 degrees Celsius. If they already give unit in table, then no need to write unit, correct? If they give you unit, you don't have to write unit. But if you want to write unit, it's not wrong. Okay, now done with this, we're going to write materials and apparatus. Okay, we're going to identify apparatus and material in this question. So if you're using the same experiment, so you know the apparatus and material, right? Can you tell me what is the material over here? What is the material over here? Material are the things that we cannot reuse again, correct? We have type of food sample. You can write the type of food. You can write the cashew nut, dry bread, and also peanut. Okay, next, beside type of food, we have distilled water, correct? Distilled water cannot be reused. One more thing cannot be reused. Cotton wool cannot be reused, correct? Actually, if you use cotton wool, doesn't matter, but cotton wool you can write cotton wool, actually, you can question got cotton wool or not, or they use cork. Yeah, they use cotton wool, actually. Sometimes they use cork, okay? So we have cotton wool. One more thing, plasticine. Plasticine is a material. Plasticine is a material, yeah. Matches, don't need to write matches over here. What is the difference between material and apparatus? Material are the things that cannot be reused. Apparatus are the things that we can be reused. For example, needle can be reused. We can reuse boiling tube, retort stand, thermometer are the things that we can be reused. Plasticine is a very gray area. You know why? Because plasticine, sometimes it can be reused, sometimes cannot be reused. It's a very gray region. But if you think of normal experiment in this case, your plasticines can be reused. Plasticine can be reused actually. In one situation, plasticines cannot be reused only when plasticines is in the water. Then you cannot reuse the plasticines. So it's a very gray region. Apparatus and material is determined through whether being tested or being tested or used to test. Correct also. So next, apparatus, we can write thermometer. We can write boiling tube. We can write the shield. We can write retort stand. We can write needle. So plasticine is a very gray region. The reuse or cannot be reused is based on the particular experiment. Like throughout the experiment, whether you can reuse or not. But actually, plasticine is a very gray region. Because most of the book, they write plasticines cannot be reused. Okay, next. State two different observations made from table 1. How do we write observation? If you want to write two observations, what do we choose? We choose the Bunsen burner also under apparatus, yeah? We have to choose the highest and lowest, correct? We choose the highest and lowest value, highest and lowest value. So we have to write MV, RV with the value. So for observation 1, we can write final water temperature after completely burned for peanut is 40 degrees Celsius. So peanut is your MV. This is your RV. So you continue with your observation 2. You change your MV and RV only. Okay, you're gonna write final water temperature after completely burned for dry bread is 34.5 degrees Celsius. Correcto. Same. Lighter and matches is an apparatus, But if you base on being tested or being test, then we don't have to include in apparatus and material. Being tested or being test. Being tested is your food sample and the distilled water. Being tested is by boiling tube thermometer. Okay, next we have inference. How do we want to write inference, guys? If chemistry is unguided, then bio sure guided, right? Based on last year, we have only one unguided lah. The year before is 3 guided. Every year should have only one unguided, unless your year is very unlucky. Then it's different story. But actually for biology, even if it's unguided, it's also very easy. Okay. Now back to this inference. How do we want to write inference, guys? We have to say inference is with your MV, ORV, and your reason, right? So to write your inference one for your peanut, you have to say peanut has highest energy value. So you can say more heat is absorbed by water, causing higher increase in temperature. So we have MV, ORV, highest or lowest. Usually we use highest, lowest. Greater is also a correct answer, but we use highest or lowest lah. And then this is your reason. Should write temperature of water. You can also write increase in temperature of water in boiling tube, also correct. Don't know whether to write or not, just write, guys. Increase in temperature of water in boiling tube. Then your answer is perfect. Inference 2, opposite answer. Okay, we're gonna write dry bread, right? Dry bread has the lowest energy value, less heat is absorbed by the water, causing a increase in temperature of water in boiling tube. Correct. Just change the answer in opposite way. So you're gonna write dry bread. Yeah. Dry bread has lowest energy value, less heat is absorbed by water, causing lower increase in temperature of water in boiling tube. Okay, done? We will look at the next one. The smaller scale is 1. Why do we need to write 1 decimal place for temperature? Just write 36.5, only 1 decimal place. Because we have a decimal place. If one of the answer with decimal place, the rest you have to write decimal place. If one of the answer is 40.1, 40.2, the rest you have to write 30.0 or 50.0. You have to write 0.0. You have to be the same unit. So it's same decimal place. You cannot just write 1 with decimal, the rest with no decimal. Okay, now let's look at the variables. We have MV, RV, and CV with method to handle. So we know that manipulated variables, you can try to fill in by yourself, is type of food. This is type of food. Method to handle. Can you tell me what is the keyword to use to write type of food? What is the word that you have to write for method to handle for MV? Correct. We have to use the word use different. Very good. Use different type of food sample, such as we have peanut, cashew nut, and dry bread. Okay, next, responding variable. You can choose to write your RV or ORV. But if you want to write ORV, you have to write formula. Observe and record, correct. Your answer is measure and record also can, observe and record also can. So a responding variable, I will usually suggest you to write the responding variable, not the operational one. Write the response, increase in temperature. That one is easier to explain. Increase in temperature of water. If you need to write method to handle with your responding, if it's no need to write method to handle, you can write energy value. Okay. So this one you can say measure and record, or you can say observe and record also can. Observe and record, or you can say measure and record the increase in temperature using the apparatus called thermometer. Using thermometer. Okay, constant variable. Okay, how do we want to write constant variable? Constant variable is the mass of water, right? Or volume of water, right? Usually we measure by volume of water first. So you can say this is the volume of distilled water. I'm confused for RV. When do we have to write? Okay, if you don't know whether to write your increase in temperature of water or you can just write energy value, both answer also correct one. It doesn't matter whether you want to write whichever. If you want the easy one, just write energy value because energy value is the easiest responding variables. If you need to have explanation, then your increase in temperature absorbing heat, it will be your explanation for your energy value. So if you want to write a responding variable, you can write either one. Without method to handle out, you can write either one. Both also correct one. Okay, so your keyword for constant variable, what's your keyword to write method to handle for constant variable? You have to write fixed volume of distilled water at 20 ml by using measuring cylinder. Measuring cylinder. Okay, you have to write the value of the constant variable if you want to write method to handle. Some question only just asking you to write method to handle for your MV, RE, and CV. So this is your method to handle. So remember to write the word use different, observe and record, fix, or measure and record also correct. Observe and record, measure and record also can. New syllabus, would they ask question like 6 and 7? What is 6 and 7? What is 6 and 7? Or question 6 and 7? It's the same thing because they don't ask you in like that, but they will ask you like maybe C, they ask you what is the method to handle. They ask you D, what is the table? They ask you F, what is the graph? So they still have chances to ask you, but not everything here. But this is a full set lah. They can ask you any question from here. If teacher give white towel, we wrap around it, is to reduce heat. Yes, the white towel works the same as your shield. It's the same thing, work the same as the shield. They want to make sure that the heat, lesser heat is lost to the surrounding. Okay, next, hypothesis. So how do we want to write hypothesis? In this question, we don't have a value for MV, right? We choose the highest or the lowest one to write. So we choose the highest one to write easier lah. So which food has the highest energy value? Which food has the highest energy value? Correct, the peanut, right? Peanut, right? So you can say, the question is peanut, right? Peanut, okay, we have to write peanut, okay? We don't change to groundnut. We have to say, peanut has the highest energy value compared to dry bread and cashew nuts. You have to say compare to who when you write hypothesis. Okay, construct a table and record all of the data collected in this experiment. Peanut is a groundnut, my dear. Okay, so anyway, back to this again. In if they ask you to draw a table, I don't think it will be as kind as the old syllabus, because in old syllabus, they give you all of the things that you need to draw a table. So in new syllabus, you have to know what to draw if you need to draw a table. So first, you have to write type of food, initial and final temperature, increase in temperature, energy value. They give you the energy value. How to draw a table? Just draw a normal table, like know how you usually draw it. I just agak-agak draw a few things for you to see lah, okay? Use my very limited drawing. Okay, never mind. I just write the word first. Type of food. Type of food. And then we have water temperature. You can write one by one. You can write initial temperature. Yeah, just one by one. Initial temperature of water. Final temperature of water. Increase in temperature of water. The last one is energy value. Yes, energy value. Because this question is old syllabus, they already give you the mass of food. So in exam, if you need to draw by yourself, you have to include the mass of food. Because this is a guided one. They give you the figure already. So in exam, you have to write the mass of food in a table form. Because you only have a calculation when you have a mass of food. Because the question, they give you the mass of food, and the mass of food in this experiment is constant. Okay, so you can write the unit. And then you can write joule. This is the question here, give you joule per gram, right? You just calculate joule per gram because the formula given is joule per gram. You just write joule per gram. And then you just include your answer. So this is how you tabulate a data. I just long story short lah, because we don't really have time. So this is how you draw a table. In exam, in your syllabus, you have to include mass of food. Mass of food in your syllabus, mass of food. This is gram. In the table, you have to include mass of food. The table, how you want to draw it, doesn't really matter. As long as you have to write initial, final, increase in temperature, and the energy value. And also mass of food. That's all. How you draw it doesn't really matter one. Okay, so you can finish the drawing by yourself lah, guys. I don't have to finish this. Remember, you have to write your unit correctly. You have to write the data correctly. You have your unit correctly. Do we have to write out the calculation? Don't have to write the calculation. Just write the answer. No need calculation needed. Just write the answer. If you want to write the step, it's correct. Without the step, it's also correct. Just write the answer. Can I use kilojoule per gram? Because the unit gives you joule per gram. We follow joule per gram, yeah? So you just write joule per gram. Because this answer is very small, you have to use your answer to draw a graph. If you use kilojoule per gram, this answer will be 0.0 something. So it's very small. So you use joule per gram, so the answer will be 700 or 1,000 or maybe 800. So if you use joule per gram, your answer is 0.0 something. Is very small for this answer. So you just use joule per gram if the answer is too small. You can use kilojoule per gram when the answer is 1 point something or 2 point something. What are the chances got graph? I don't know. I don't know, okay? So they ask you to plot a bar chart. When your MV has no value, it's always a bar chart. How do you draw a bar chart at agak-agak? You have to make sure that you fit 70% of the graph paper when you draw a bar chart, yeah? On top, this part, you write your energy value. Over here, you write type of food. And then you have your bar chart. Agak-agak draw like that, okay? Your bar chart. You simply draw, just simply draw a bar chart, guys. So this is how you draw a bar chart. Something like that, a bar chart. Energy value, type of food, and then you have number over here. You have label, maybe this is a peanut, dry bread, whatever lah. You have to label it. So this is your number. So you all know how to draw a graph, right? I mean, not very hard to draw a bar chart. Does not require a skill to do this. Okay, so remember your labeling is 1 mark. Your answer is 1 mark. If it's your graph is a normal histogram, you get another mark. Do we have to put a gap? You have to put a gap between them. You have to put a gap in between them, yeah? That time will give you graph paper. Of course, they will give you graph paper. They will give you graph paper to draw this thing. Okay, so must put Sangak line for the label. What is my Sangak line? The line? No, just label normally. How you label your your normal mathematic graph. Do we have to color don't have to color, guys. Like how you draw a max graph. This need a title. Okay, title usually is not a must. This is a bar chart, correct? A bar chart, okay? Now, anyway, let me long story short. I know the time already passed. You all want to eat your lunch already. Let me teach you the way of answering. On the bar chart, state the relationship between energy value and the classes of food. Explain your answer. So if you want to write relationship, for every question with relationship, you have to say which food has the highest energy value. Then your explanation. Your explanation is based on the lipid content because peanut has higher lipid compared to other class of food. They will release more heat when there is completely burn of food in 1 gram. So this is your explanation. Okay, if it's relationship. Then they ask you, they repeat by using soybean. So they ask you to predict your increase in temperature. If you use soybean, do they have more energy value compared to cashew nut? Because cashew nut is the middle one, right? The answer is higher. Why? Because soybean is a protein. Cashew nut is a very gray region. They are under a bit carbohydrate, they are a bit protein, something like that. So your soybean has a higher energy value than your cashew nut. How do we have to write the answer? We have to say the increase in temperature is higher than 36.5. Higher than 36.5. The energy value is higher than, I don't know what's the energy value lah. Then you explain your answer. Same thing. And then you write your operational definition. Same thing. How to write operation definition? You write theory, RV is affected by MV. Okay, so this is how we explain energy value. Okay, guys, again, in exam time, if touch wood, okay, touch the wood lah. If energy value is not coming out, you can still use the same answering technique. You use the same answering technique for all of the experiment in biology. Okay, so of course, I wish that energy value will be the question that you see in your exam on Thursday. If you have any latest tips from your teacher or from whatever telegram, you can let me know. I can still prepare a reading material for you if it's not energy value lah. Okay, so we'll end here for today. I will post the answer in GC. Any question you want to ask, you can ask me now. No question. I will see you guys again. We still have online class next week, guys. Okay, please remember. So, okay, I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye, guys. Good luck for your exam. Bye-bye, 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 Erica. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.